Welcome back, Ghost Hunters. This is Cyberflunk bringing you a full tour of Nell's Diner. We're going to look at every room, where the light switches are, the 3 locations for the breakers, as well as the 4 official hiding spots, but then just a couple that I've already picked up on. So Nell's Diner is a really cool American diner style, and the police car out front, as well as just the general vibe of the place, makes it really cool lore-wise, because it just looks like the building's been evacuated. So yeah, let's just prepare and take a look at what you can expect from this map. Alright, so if we go into Nell's Diner through the front door, it's really hard to miss considering there is a police car with its siren still on, so just look for the red and blue flashing lights. This map is apparently so scary that the police didn't even bother turning off the blues and twos before they actually abandoned the scene. That's actually seen throughout this. It looks like a lot of people left in a hurry. But if you go in through that front door after seeing the Pie of the Day sign, which seems really cheap. Is that how cheap the cost of living is over in the US? Maybe I need to move over. But you are meted by a foyer. There isn't anything notable about the foyer. I don't think it would be a decent hiding spot. There's no cursed objects and no fuse box, so we can just ignore it. You are, however, met with a jukebox. That is there just for vibes, if I'm being honest. Like, I imagine it's going to be useful. You can get interactions off it just like anything electrical. But that said, it does probably add to the experience. So the first light switch we've got on the wall, the bottom left, does the front section of the diner. Then the front bottom right does the next section, top right to the other, and then the back. To be honest, it kind of follows the layout of the section of the room, so it's quite easy. So I've shown you it here and what it does. So moving on from that, we just get to see a little bit about how the actual diner looks. So you've got your condiments, you've got food, you've got the Pie of the Day here, as well as our first cursed object, the Voodoo Doll, just laying here in the booth. So yeah, it seems like this might make a pretty decent looping spot, if I'm being honest. As well, you've got the areas around sort of the central booths that you could maybe loop around, though it does feel a bit bigger than where we have looped in the past. So there isn't actually any sanctioned hiding spots, and to be honest, I've not found anywhere that you can hide. I imagine the central pillar, central wall between the booths is going to be enough to break line of sight, so you might be able to evade a bit like loop strategies, but there isn't somewhere you can just ride out a hunt. You can't fit under tables or into the booths, so you are kind of a sitting duck. Your best option is probably to not be in this room if there is a hunt. Okay, so dining room covered, we now move on to the dining area. We have a fuse box. It's actually the location for this map, just on the wall. So as you go through the hatch on the far side from the door, you've got the dining areas, well, the service hatches area. You've got 2 light switches again, so the top one does the far side, the closest one to you does the one right above your head. We have plenty of electrical devices here, which can be used for EMF readings. We also have the spawn location for the tarot card. So it's really cool how compact this map is compared to the others where you do get a few things spawning together. For a relatively small map, it has a lot of really cool features. But yeah, so with the sheer amount of electrical devices, you shouldn't be troubled to get EMF readings. You can't, despite the appearance, crouch under the hatches, unfortunately. Nor can you interact with the fridge, which means you can't use that to get interactions either from poltergeist throws or whatever like that. So once again, there's no hiding spots within the dining area, But that's not a big problem because we do have the kitchen behind, and it does offer a lot of use for hiding. Just a really interesting note here. They are service doors connecting the service area to the kitchen, but you can't just walk through them when they open, but they do shut behind you. So going into the kitchen area, my first impressions are, well, firstly, another area with 3 switches, each doing a different area. Somewhat very self-explanatory. Unfortunately, I did trip the breaker, so we are going to get to see it again. So the closest one is kind of the light on top of you. Then the next one goes for the back area, which is near a hiding spot. And the furthest one, the furthest area of the kitchen. Quite self-explanatory. It looks like a really good spot to loop the ghost. And it brings us on to our monkey paw. Now, I can fully understand why this diner is being haunted if they are chopping up a cursed monkey paw for people's food. Now, I think you can hide behind that little pan shelf there. But if you are in the kitchen, there is probably a better option, and we will look at that in a moment. But yeah, I really think that the looping spot here is going to be incredible for media, for ruling out ghost types and stuff like that. There's not a whole lot else in the kitchen, but it's definitely I think this is going to be the best spot for hunts if you're after getting media or in higher difficulties, getting other stuff. Now, there is actually a light switch just outside the freezer, which I missed, but the walk-in freezer has probably the safest hiding spot by gut instinct. So you could just get in behind another one of those shelves. Just an interesting note about the freezer. It will be room temperature when the fuse is off, like standard temperature. But when the fuse is on, it will go and freeze. So if you do have a ghost in there, and I'm not sure if a ghost could spawn in there, but if you do have a ghost in there, don't think you have freezing temps, and don't go and assume that the freezer area is the locale just because it's so cold. So the other door from the kitchen leads to a hallway. The notable things about this, again, we've got the 2 light system. We also have the emergency exit, which functions as another way in and out of the building. And directly facing this is a location of the fuse box. This was actually where the fuse box was on my first game. And it leads onto a long corridor that's kind of dark at the end, but you can't turn the lights on. The lights on that end basically correlate to the ones down the corridor. I don't think there's much notable about the corridor itself. There doesn't seem to be any hiding spots directly in the corridor. But I do know people have found sort of, not exactly glitch spots. It leads onto another corridor, which we'll cover in a moment. I know I've just wandered in, but we're going to go room by room here. So I think you could maybe get away with using this table as a hiding spot. But we go into the CCTV room, security room, I guess you can call it. Manager's office. There's a light switch near the door. Coffee machine and electronics. There is actually the music box on it as well. I had to guess that you could hide behind the computer desk. I also reckon that the bookshelf will make a decent hiding spot. You can see the CCTV on this, which is pretty cool, but you can't react with it. Sadly, it would be cool if you could have a place in the building. Next room off this is the staff break room. This was actually the spot where I had my first encounter. So things get crazy here. This was the ghost room on this playthrough. Don't worry, this is on a friendly mode as well as having all the objects. This is just one playthrough. So, yeah, nothing really notable. No hiding spots in here apart from the lockers. So you can get a few of you in there. And it's where our next cursed object is, our cursed mirror. So, yeah, it seems pretty cool. It's part of the Easter egg. We will be doing another video on the Easter egg. But, yeah. Hey, look, I'm in the mirror. Oh, no. Don't worry, we're friendly. The ghost is friendly. But, yeah, so the staff room looks like it offers a looping spot, though. Just around the table, but it is a little close for comfort. So I probably will try and lure it into the kitchen if that's how you want to play it. So continuing our journey along the staff corridor, on the right is the staff bathroom. It's where the location of the bone was, but remember they are random and can be anywhere. Not much in this room, but for interactions there is the sink and the toilet. The room directly across from it is the janitor's closet. Really cool, it's the location of the Ouija board, which I actually missed, and it's the other location directly behind the Ouija board for the fuse box. So there is the potential for a 2-in-1 here. There isn't any hiding spots as such. I don't think you'd be able to use anywhere there for hiding spots, sadly. You can see the ghost getting a bit active here as we move into the main hallway, vending machines and stuff like that. 3 switches at the end of the hallway. Going into, and that sort of loops us nicely into around the whole building, back into the dining room areas. I've just got to go get the fuse real quick. But yeah, it's nice and simple as a map. Nice ring layout, really easy to navigate. No corridors you can get lost in, which I think is one of the things I like. There is an emergency exit at the end, but that's actually taped off. So apparently the blue vending machine is listed as a sanctioned hiding spot. Not quite sure why. It's not actually something that sprang to mind. But you can see the ghost hunting distribution tape on the door here. So I'm guessing, actually looking at this back, you can get in through the side. So I've gone back to show you the switches correlate to the other corridor again. There is actually only the couple of light switches right at the end of the corridor, which is somewhat annoying. But I'm guessing all the vending machines, because they're plugged in, can give EMFs. I'm guessing so can the game. So this is red corridor or main hallway. The other one is actually called staff hallway. We've got the men's and women's bathroom. The women's bathroom offers hiding spots, I suppose. I'm guessing you can get away with hiding in the cubicles. One thing I want to commend them for is having an accessible bathroom. It's not something you see often in games, and it's just a really cool bit of visibility. Again, you've got sinks and potential for hiding spots. Don't know how effective they'd be. And the first cubicle is out of bounds. Plenty of space there if the ghost room is that room to allow for interactions. The men's room is a little bit more interesting. You've got the light switch on the thing. It's actually the location for the summoning circle. Again, you've got potentially places to hide. You've got maybe the janitor's car. It's not actually a sanctioned hiding spot. I'm not sure if it'd work, whether it would break line of sight. And again, the cubicles, but not sure how effective they will actually be. But I suppose if you're in a pinch, it could be a loop spot. It could slow it down enough or whatever. Many of you guys are likely better than me at the game and could pull those maneuvers off. So that's continued the loop, and we are actually done with the first look. If you guys know any places that can work for hiding spots, please let me know. It would be great to maybe do an update based on what people have found. The only other thing that will be covered about this map as of this moment is the Easter egg, the ghost in the machine, I think it's been called. But that's going to warrant its own video. It'll probably only be a short, but I might do a long form so people can follow along in real time. It seems quite simple, so we will take a look at that. But if you have found this guide helpful for your investigations, then absolutely drop me a follow, tell me what you think of this, and we will see you in the next video.